All right, page 699 today. We're going to start off by talking about circumference. And circumference is the distance around a circle. It's the distance around a circle. The formula for circumference, you have two formulas for circumference. Circumference is equal to pi times diameter, or you can use the formula circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. Both of those formulas will give you the same answer, okay? Because we said yesterday that the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So in a way, these two are the same formula. All right, so we've got a real world example, number 4 there, and they ask you to find the circumference of the helipad described on the left, and it looks like the helipad has a diameter of 79. So we just take C, which is the circumference, equals pi times 79. Now, a lot of these problems today, we are rounding to the nearest hundredth, and you're going to be using the pi button in your calculator. And the pi button is 2 above and 1 to the left of the 7. So the first thing you want to do to your calculator is push second, and then fix, and then 2. Second, fix, 2. And on your calculator screen, you should have a 0.00. That means your calculator is rounding everything to the nearest hundredth. And when you use pi, you're going to use the pi button. You're not going to type in any numbers for pi. You're just going to use the pi button. So now on your calculator, if you would, just push 79 times pi button and hit equals. And everybody should get 248.19. All right, so the circumference of that circle is 248.19. If you're given the radius, okay, so if r equals 2.5, find c. Well, if the radius is 2.5 and we're finding the circumference, we're going to use this formula, the 2 times pi times r. So in this case, we're going to say the circumference is equal to 2 times the pi button times the radius, which is 2.5. So again, type it in your calculator. So 2 times pi button times 2.5 and hit equals, and you should get 15.71. All right, so finding circumference given the diameter or given the radius, we use this formula, pi times diameter, if you're given the diameter, and we use 2 times pi times radius if you are given the radius. So flip the page, look at the top of page 700. And now we're going to use those same formulas, but we're going to use them in a little bit different way. Now the directions or instructions are find the diameter and radius. given the circumference. So if we're given the circumference of a circle and we need to find the diameter and the radius, here's the process, okay? If circumference is equal to pi times diameter, and we divide both sides of this equation by pi, the pi symbols cancel, and we come up with basically a new formula. And our new formula is the circumference divided by pi is equal to the diameter. And we said yesterday that the radius is equal to 1/2 times diameter, which is the same as the radius being equal to the diameter divided by 2. So what you're going to be given is the circumference. And if you follow this process, these problems are relatively simple. So again, we're going to find the diameter and the radius given the circumference. So let's say that our circumference is 106.4. So if C is equal to 106.4, we're going to find D and R. So we take this formula right here. We take 106.4, we put it over pi, and that's equal to our diameter. So in your calculator, 106.4 divided by and push the pi button and hit equals, and I get 33.87. So 33.87 is equal to the diameter. There's my diameter. Now to get the radius, I take 33.87, I divide it by 2, and that equals the radius. So that number, our diameter, is still sitting on the calculator screen. While it's sitting there, just push divided by 2 and hit equals. And we get 16.93 as our radius. So here's our diameter. Here's our radius. About 3 steps in the calculator. Circumference divided by pi button equals diameter. All right, use the pi button. Make sure your calculator is set to second fix 2. So let's do one more. Let's say circumference equals 77.8. We take 77.8 divided by pi equals the diameter. (27) 24.76. So 24.76 equals the diameter. Then, in order to get the radius, 24.76 divided by 2 equals our radius. So again, this 24.76 is sitting on the screen. So if we push divided by 2 and hit equals, 12.38 is our radius. All right, any questions there? Okay, and finally what we're going to do today, or you're going to do today, is we're going to find the exact circumference using an inscribed polygon. All right, here's what we mean by an inscribed polygon. Inscribed, drawn inside of. So let's take a circle. We're going to put the center of the circle in. And now draw a diameter through the center. And then what we're going to do with that is we're going to draw a right triangle. Just the best that you can. We're given a couple of dimensions. Let's say that we're given a 4 for this side of the triangle, and we're given a 6. Now, we're given the 4 and we're given the 6 because we have a right triangle here. And in any right triangle, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. All right? And what our c squared represents is this hypotenuse. And what the hypotenuse represents is the diameter of this circle. And with the diameter of this circle, we can find the circumference. All right? So I'm going to label this D over here for diameter. All right? So look at our equation. We're going to take 4 squared plus 6 squared, and it's equal to our diameter squared. Now, in your calculator, you can type 4x squared plus 6x squared, hit equals. So 52 is equal to the diameter squared. Now, if we square root each side, and again, you got the 52 sitting on your calculator, push the square root button. So 7.21 equals the diameter. Now we're going to take that diameter and we're going to find the circumference. So our formula for circumference is pi times diameter. Now look, you still got the 7.21 sitting on your screen, and it's your diameter. So our circumference is equal to pi times the 7.21. So while that 7.21 is sitting on your calculator, push times, push the pi button, and hit equals. And you should get 22.65. All right, so we're going to adjust these directions a little bit. Exact circumference, we're rounding here 2 decimal places, so our circumference is equal to 22.65. The key is with these shapes is that you're using the shape inscribed in the circle to find the diameter. So let's draw another circle. Put a center in it. And now let's put a rectangle inside the circle. And let's say that one of these sides is 5 and this side over here is 8. And we need to find the circumference of this circle. Well, in this case, what you have to do, if this rectangle is inside the circle, you've got to add a line. You've got to put a diagonal right through this rectangle. And that diagonal is going to represent the diameter And since this is a rectangle in here, we got another right triangle. We're looking for this diameter again. So we're going to take this right triangle and apply the Pythagorean theorem. So 5 squared plus 8 squared is equal to d squared. Go to your calculator. That's 5x squared button plus 8x squared button equals. So 89 is equal to d squared. We're going to square root each side. So square root button equals, we get 9.43 is equal to our diameter. If 9.43 is equal to our diameter and our circumference equals pi times diameter, then our circumference equals pi times 9.43. The 9.43 is still sitting on your screen, so just push times, pi button, hit equals, and I get 29.64. So our circumference equals 29.64. And then just keep in mind that if, this is even harder to draw, let's say we got a square, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're given a square and it's got a circle inside of it, okay? You're given a square, it's got a circle inside of it, and you're given this dimension. Now, if this piece of the square, if this bottom leg of the square is 15, then the top's also 15, and the left-hand side's 15, and the right-hand side's 15. But if you can imagine this piece right here, the bottom of this square, this red piece, and we just slide it up, doesn't it just represent the diameter? So in that case, if the circle is inscribed inside the square, well then one length of the square, any side that you're given of the square, represents the diameter of the circle. All right, and from that you can use the diameter to find the circumference. All right, so any questions? All right, then your practice for today is going to be on page 702. (24 through 33). And then 36 through 39.